Massachusetts does not like putting a spotlight on their own failures. It's very obvious. And a perfect example of this was the most recent welfare study done by the Fiscal Alliance Foundation. Now, think about it this way. We're living in a state where independent organizations, private organizations, independent journalists, citizen journalists, we have to spend our own time, our own money, and our own resources investigating waste, fraud, and abuse simply because our own government has different priorities in mind. That should bother everybody. It certainly bothers me, because when a state spends nearly $30 billion in a year on welfare programs, which is roughly half of our entire budget, obviously there's a problem. There is a problem. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not against welfare. I'm not against welfare at all. But what I am against is the fact that these should be temporary solutions to a bigger foundational problem. But when you look at these reports and you're looking at welfare as a whole, if welfare is growing, but alongside these programs, the error rate is growing as well, you're not looking at some kind of safety net anymore. You're looking inside of a system that is basically feeding upon itself. And nobody in charge, absolutely nobody in charge, seems interested in asking why. Why are these things happening? Now, I said this before in my previous video. How bad do things have to be within these organizations, within this welfare program, whichever one that they're in? How bad does it have to be to have whistleblowers come forward? You know how hard it is to even talk at the dinner table about some of these problems in Massachusetts. So imagine you're at a job, your career, your industry, or whatever, you see things going on. I understand things happen in a lot of industries, but when did it become taboo or a bad thing to expose the problem than the problem itself? I think that the truth here is that we're living in this distorted timeline where our state government and its biggest cheerleaders look down on anyone exposing the problems, but they will stand shoulder to shoulder with the people who created them. Do you know how many states in this country, how many states within this country operate on less than $30 billion in terms of their budgets? There's roughly around 30 of them. There's around 30 of them. So you figure schools, cops, local resources, fire departments, schools, right? All of these states are operating on less money than we spend on welfare alone. And we're eating roughly half of our total spending that's flowing through this state on these programs. That will tell you everything that you need to know. And the problem, when you really think about this, the problem isn't the watchdogs that are being too aggressive or not aggressive enough. The problem is, without these people, nobody is watching at all. Nobody is watching at all. And when nobody is watching a system this big with this much money flowing through it, that's when things will go sideways. As you've seen, they are. That's when billions of dollars basically walk out the wrong door and nobody notices until someone on the outside of the building points at it. It shouldn't be this way. Let me tell you this much. In my opinion, without change, Massachusetts taxpayers will keep bankrolling a system that will promote dependency instead of self-sufficiency. And in the meantime, we're in a position where we may have to pay massive federal penalties, which will in turn shortchange our schools, our roads, and our local aid. That is what they don't want to talk about. So instead of this state choosing to collaborate or find a way to work together to fix the problems, they'd rather act as a combatant and try to fight to bury the problems instead. That is just the way it goes inside of Massachusetts.
The Fiscal Alliance Foundation is a nonpartisan, nonprofit 501c3 organization. Visit our website to read more about our alternative energy policy studies, sign up for important email updates, make a tax-deductible contribution, and follow us on social media.